Hey, I'm Mark, 36 years old. My wife, Lisa, is 34. We've been married for 8 years. You know those moments in life where everything feels too perfect? Yeah, that was us until a single movie history log turned my world upside down. It started with something small. A movie she supposedly never watched. A lie so casual it should have meant nothing. But instead, it unraveled everything. Buckle up, because this story isn't just about betrayal. It's about payback. And trust me, you'll want to hear every single detail. But first, let's rewind a few weeks. You ever have one of those moments where something just doesn't sit right? Like when you order a burger and take a bite, but the texture's all wrong, and you just know someone snuck a veggie patty in there. That's exactly how I felt when I saw that movie in my streaming history. Lisa and I had been sharing the same streaming account for years. No big deal. She watched her shows. I watched mine. And we had our together shows, the ones we promised never to watch alone, under the unspoken contract of marriage. But then, one night, something changed. I was scrolling through our watch history, looking for that one documentary I never finished. You know, the kind you start when you're feeling intellectual but abandon the second you realize it's basically a narrated textbook. And that's when I saw it. A movie that made no sense. A steamy, artsy European film. Not a rom-com. Not a drama. Something way more specific. Now, I know my wife. I know what she watches. She's a true crime and interior design type of woman. The most risque thing she's into is reruns of Desperate Housewives. And suddenly, she's out here watching this? Alone? Nah. I called out to her from the couch. Hey Lisa, did you watch Midnight Obsession? Not the real name, but you get the idea. She was in the kitchen, pouring herself a glass of wine. She barely glanced up. Huh? No. What's that? I stared at the screen. The timestamp said it had been watched 2 nights ago. When I was working late. My gut clenched. She just lied to my face. Over a movie. Now, let's be real. This should have been nothing, right? A weird glitch, a butt click. Maybe she fell asleep, and it autoplayed. But something about her reaction felt off. And let me tell you something about me. I don't ignore my gut. I grew up in a house where you had to pay attention. If you didn't notice when Grandpa was about to tell the same war story for the 5th time, you'd be stuck nodding along for an hour. If you missed Mom's, you better get those chores done before she asks twice face, you were done for. So when Lisa brushed it off so easily, my instincts kicked in. I smiled, nodded, acted normal. But in my head, I was already digging. And oh man, I had no idea what I was about to find. You ever notice how, when people start lying, they suddenly get really good at things they never cared about before? Like, Lisa had never been interested in fitness, but suddenly, she was going on night walks alone. She never cared about her phone, but now, it was practically surgically attached to her hand. And then there was the laptop. Lisa usually scrolled on her phone or watched TV in the living room. But suddenly, she was using her laptop more. A lot more. And always with the screen tilted just enough that I couldn't see. I started watching her. Not in a crazy way, just in a husband way. When I walked into the room, she'd click away from whatever she was doing. When she got up, she'd shut the screen instead of letting it sit open. I asked her about it once. What are you working on? She didn't even look up. Just Pinterest. Lisa hated Pinterest. So I did what any reasonable, suspicious husband would do. I set up a hidden camera. Nothing crazy, just a small one, tucked neatly between a few books on the shelf. Perfect angle of the couch where she always sat with that laptop. The next day, when she went to take one of her mysterious night walks, I checked the footage. And there she was, on a video call. Not with me, not with a friend, with someone else. And then, she did something that made my stomach drop. She smiled, tucked her hair behind her ear, and slowly, casually, started unbuttoning her top. I had to pause the footage just to breathe. Lisa, my wife, the woman I shared my life with, was sitting in our living room, undressing for another man. I don't even remember what I felt first. Shock? Anger? Disgust? It was like every emotion crashed into me at once, leaving this cold, numb silence in my head. And the worst part? She looked happy. She wasn't being forced. She wasn't crying about it. She was smiling, smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. That's when something inside me snapped. Confront her? No, that'd be too easy. Lisa thought she was clever, thought she was getting away with it. But I had other plans. She had no idea that she just gave me the perfect reason to start playing my own game. A celebration was coming. An event where she'd be the center of attention. And I was about to make sure she'd never forget it. You ever get hit with news so bad that your brain just refuses to process it? Like, your boss calls you into their office, and before they even speak, you know it's going to be bad. So your brain goes, nope, I don't live here anymore? That was me, sitting there, watching my wife unbutton her top for another man. I sat in front of that screen, frozen, like my body hadn't gotten the memo that I was supposed to be furious. My heart was pounding, my hands clenched into fists, but my brain, it was just static. And then the sound kicked in. Lisa's voice, soft, almost flirty. I've missed you. My stomach twisted. Then his voice. Wish I was there. I swear to you, I almost threw the laptop across the room. But I didn't. Because if there's one thing I learned growing up with 3 older brothers who took every opportunity to prank me, it's this. You don't react. You play the long game. You sit with it. You wait. And then, when they least expect it, that's when you strike. So instead of smashing something, instead of screaming, I just leaned back in my chair, and I watched as my wife, sat in our living room laughing, flipping her hair, undoing the next button. She was careful, flirty but never saying his name, keeping things vague. Like she knew if she wasn't careful, she'd slip up. But it didn't matter, because I already knew everything I needed to know. Now, here's where most people would say, why didn't you confront her right away? Because I wasn't looking for a fight. I was looking for revenge. Lisa thought she was sneaky? Goo. She had no idea that she was about to walk into the most humiliating night of her life. And the best part? She was gonna thank me for it. Let me tell you something about keeping your cool. It's an underrated skill. Most people think that when they catch a partner cheating, they'll explode on the spot. Flip tables, scream, pack their bags, and storm out in a righteous fury. Not me. I grew up with 3 older brothers who lived to mess with me. The kind of guys who would put plastic wrap over the toilet seat and then swear on mom's life that they had no idea why my socks were wet. They taught me one valuable lesson. The best revenge is slow, calculated, and merciless. So when I caught my wife undressing on a video call for another man, in our living room on our couch, where she and I had spent so many nights together, I didn't react. I didn't march into the room demanding answers.
No, Ismilat.
Because I wasn't about to waste this moment on a petty argument. Oh no, I had bigger plans. Step 1, act normal. The morning after I saw the footage, Lisa woke up next to me, stretching with that sleepy, innocent look on her face, like she hadn't just emotionally detonated our marriage the night before. She yawned. Morning. I turned over, kissed her forehead, and said, Morning, babe, like nothing had happened. And let me tell you, pretending not to know was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Not because I wanted to scream, but because I was excited. I had never been so laser-focused in my life. Every moment, every conversation, every glance at her phone. It was all evidence stacking up, all pieces of a puzzle that would come together in the most spectacular way possible. She had no idea that her oblivious husband was watching her every move. Step 2. Let her dig her own grave. Lisa started getting bolder, or maybe just careless. She smiled at her phone too much. She suddenly had to run errands at the weirdest times. Middle of the evening, right before bed, times when she normally never left the house. And my personal favorite? The shower marathons. Lisa was always a 10-minute shower kind of person. Efficient. But now, she'd be in there for an hour. Sometimes longer. I'd walk by the door, and it was dead silent in there. No water running, no movement. Just Lisa in a locked bathroom doing whatever it was she thought I was too stupid to notice. I almost laughed every time. because I wasn't angry anymore. I was patient. Step 3, the setup. Lisa's birthday was coming up. And if there's one thing you need to know about Lisa, it's this. She loves being the center of attention. Big parties, lots of people, all eyes on her. So I decided to give her exactly that. I went all out. Sent invitations to her closest friends, the ones she always bragged to about our perfect marriage. Decorated the house like it was a wedding reception. Even hired a caterer because, hey, if I was going to burn my marriage to the ground, I wanted to do it over a plate of gourmet sliders. And the best part? Lisa had no idea she was walking into her own funeral. Because this wasn't just a birthday party. This was the stage. The perfect setting. The grand finale. And the main event? A little party game I like to call the Lie Detector Challenge. It was almost poetic, really. Lisa thought she was playing me, but she had no idea she'd been playing right into my hands the whole time. The trick to a perfect setup is making it feel completely natural. You can't just spring something on people out of nowhere. They get suspicious. They start questioning things. No, you have to lay the groundwork so perfectly that when the trap snaps shut, the only thing they can say is, "How did I not see this coming?" And let me tell you, Lisa didn't see it coming. Step 1, the fake thoughtfulness. Lisa loved big birthday parties. She was the kind of person who thought birthdays weren't just a celebration, they were a personal holiday. So, a few weeks before the big day, I hit her with, "Babe, I want to throw you the best party this year. Big guest list, real catering, the whole thing." Her face lit up. "You'd really do that for me?" She gushed, looking at me like I was the best husband in the world. I smiled. "Of course. You deserve it."
Oh, Lisa.
"You have no idea how much you deserve this party." Step 2, the guest list. I made sure to invite everyone who mattered. Her closest friends, the ones who always hyped up our perfect relationship. Her coworkers, because nothing's worse than being exposed in front of people you have to see every day. And my personal favorite? A few people she didn't expect. See, Lisa was careful. She never mentioned who she was cheating with, never slipped up on a name. But I had a gut feeling. And when I cross-referenced the times she was acting shady with a certain mutual friend, who had also been acting weird lately, let's just say I made sure his name was on the list. Step 3, the entertainment. Now, a party needs more than just food and drinks. It needs a fun little activity. And that's where I introduced the Lie Detector Challenge. I casually mentioned it to Lisa a week before the party. You know what would be fun? A party game where we take turns doing a lie detector test. Nothing serious, just silly questions. Like, did you ever cheat on a test in high school? Or, have you ever lied about your age? She laughed. She actually laughed. "That's hilarious," she said, completely unaware of what she just agreed to. Step 4, the setup. The week leading up to the party, Lisa was in full celebration mode. Shopping for a new dress, getting her hair done, posting those little countdowns on Instagram like she was about to walk a red carpet. Meanwhile, I was setting the trap. The lie detector? Real. My buddy, a law enforcement officer, was more than happy to help. It wasn't some toy you buy online, it was legit. The questions? Locked and loaded. And Lisa was about to have a birthday she would never forget. If you've never thrown a revenge party, let me tell you, it's all about the details. You can't just drop a bombshell and walk away. No, you have to build the moment. Let the suspense hang in the air just long enough that people start to feel it in their bones before you deliver the final blow. And Lisa? She had no idea. The perfect party atmosphere. The house looked like a Pinterest board exploded. I made sure everything was perfect. Balloons, twinkling lights, a bar stocked with all her favorite drinks. People showed up dressed to impress, ready to celebrate Lisa, the amazing wife, the beloved friend, the life of the party. She glowed under the attention, soaking it all in like she was a Hollywood starlet at her own premiere. She had no idea she was actually at a public execution. Hers. The game begins. After dinner, I clinked my glass. "All right, everybody. I planned a little game for Lisa's big night." Cheers. Laughter. Excitement. Lisa grinned. "A game?" I nodded. "Yup. Thought we'd play a little lie detector challenge. The room buzzed. People loved it. I mean, who doesn't want to see their friends squirm over a stupid lie detector? It was perfect, fun, innocent, until it wasn't. Lisa laughed. Oh my God. This is amazing. She had no clue she just agreed to her own downfall. I gestured to my buddy, the real law enforcement officer I brought in for this exact moment. He set up the polygraph machine in the middle of the room, all official-like, making it feel legit. And just like that, the game was on. The warm-up questions. We started light. Have you ever stolen something? Lisa laughed.
No truth.
People cheered. It was fun, harmless, exactly what she expected. Did you ever fake being sick to get out of work? She grinned. Oh, definitely. Truth. Laughter. A few playful boos. Lisa was relaxed. Comfortable. She thought this was just a silly party trick. Then I leaned in, smiled, and asked the question that would shatter everything. Lisa, have you been completely faithful to me? The room went silent. She blinked. The smile froze on her face. And in that 1 second, that single moment, I saw it. Fear. And I knew. She was about to lie. There's a special kind of silence that happens when you drop a bomb in a room full of people. It's not just quiet. It's heavy. Like the air gets thicker. Like everyone is suddenly hyper-aware of the moment they're in. That's exactly what happened when I asked Lisa, have you been completely faithful to me? Her smile froze. The shift was instant. 1 second, she was relaxed, riding high on the attention. The next, her brain short-circuited. I could see it, her eyes darting just slightly, her body tensing up. She tried to laugh it off. Oh my God, Mark. Seriously. She looked around, like the group was supposed to jump in and save her. What kind of question is that? I shrugged, keeping my face completely neutral. Just part of the game. The tension in the room tripled. Because now everyone realized this wasn't just a random party game anymore. Lisa licked her lips. Classic nervous tick. Her hands, which had been resting casually on her lap, tightened into fists. She was panicking, but she couldn't back out now. Too many eyes on her. Too much pressure. So she swallowed hard, forced a smile, and said the worst possible thing she could have said. Yes, I have been completely faithful. The second she spoke, the polygraph flatlined. Dead silence. And then, from somewhere in the room, someone let out a low, awkward, oof. Lisa's face drained of color. The moment it hit her, I wish I could bottle the look in her eyes. That exact millisecond she realized she was caught. She looked at the officer running the polygraph, desperate. This thing isn't accurate, right? These don't even work. The guy, bless him, just raised an eyebrow. Actually, this is the same system we use for real interrogations. It's about 90% accurate. Lisa's breath hitched. Someone in the crowd whistled. Another person murmured, damn. She was unraveling fast. I let the silence stretch, let her feel every second of it. Then I leaned in again, smiled, and asked, you want to try that answer again? You ever watch a deer freeze in the middle of the road right before a truck hits it? That was Lisa, sitting there, strapped to a lie detector, in front of all her friends, realizing that she had just exposed herself. I gave her an out. I really did. She could have come clean. She could have laughed and said, okay, maybe I flirted with someone once. She could have spun it. But Lisa wasn't thinking. She was scrambling. She forced a laugh. Terrible one. One of those high-pitched, shaky laughs that people do when they're trying not to pass out. This is ridiculous, she scoffed. Mark, you're being insane. I tilted my head. So, you're saying the machine is wrong? Obviously, she snapped. I nodded slowly, letting the tension build. Then I turned to the officer. How often does this thing mess up? The guy shrugged, playing his role perfectly. Well, there's always a margin of error, but in this case, he gestured at the flat line on the screen. That's a pretty clear reaction. Someone in the crowd let out a low, drawn-out oh. Lisa snapped her head around. I don't know why it did that, she said quickly, her voice rising. This is supposed to be a fun game. Why are we even asking these kinds of questions? And now, she was angry, which, in case you didn't know, is Cheater 101. When caught, deflect, get mad, act like the victim. I just watched her, calm, unbothered, because she wasn't getting out of this. Not after what I had planned next. The second question. I leaned forward, looking her right in the eyes.
Lisa.
My voice was quiet, steady, deadly. Her breath hitched. I smiled. Have you cheated on me? The room went silent again. A few guests shifted uncomfortably. Some exchanged looks. Nobody knew whether to laugh or leave.
Lisa.
Lisa looked trapped. Her eyes darted to her friends, then to the door, like she was actually considering running. And then, because she had no other choice, she whispered, "No." The lie detector didn't even hesitate. Flatline. This time, the reaction from the room was immediate. Someone gasped. A girl on the couch covered her mouth. One of her co-workers actually muttered, "Oh my God." And Lisa looked like she was about to throw up. I sat back, letting the moment settle, letting her feel every ounce of the weight pressing down on her. Then, slowly, I reached for something under the table. Something I had prepared for this exact moment. Lisa saw it, and that's when her entire body went stiff. You ever watch someone's soul leave their body in real time? Because that's exactly what happened when Lisa saw me reaching under the table. She knew. She didn't know how much I knew, but in that split second, I saw it hit her like a brick to the face. The fear, the regret, the desperate, silent prayer that whatever was coming next wouldn't be what she thought it was.
Oh, Lisa.
It was so much worse. The breakdown begins. "Mark," she said, her voice shaky. What are you doing?" I didn't answer. Instead, I pulled out a small remote, clicked a button, and behind me on the giant TV screen, a video started playing. The video that ruined her. The footage was crystal clear. Our living room.
Lisa.
Sitting on the couch. Laptop open. And then, the moment. Her voice, soft, flirty, sickening. "I've missed you." And then his voice. "Wish I was there." Right there. In front of everyone. The crowd reacts. The reaction was instant. Gasps. Mutters. Someone let out an audible, "Oh, hell no." One of Lisa's friends stood up so fast her drink spilled. And Lisa lost it. She jumped to her feet, lunging for the remote. "Mark, turn that off. This isn't funny." I stepped back. "Oh, I'm not laughing." Her breathing was ragged, wild, like an animal caught in a trap. Her eyes darted around the room, looking for allies. But all she found was horrified stares. The same friends she loved to show off for were now watching her come undone. One of her co-workers, a woman I barely knew, just whispered, "Wow." And then came the final blow, the unexpected guest. From the back of the room, someone cleared their throat. Lisa froze. And I swear to you, I have never seen someone's face drain of blood so fast. Because standing in the doorway, the man from the video, her secret, her wish I was their guy. Lisa stopped breathing. And in that moment, with the whole room watching, she realized she wasn't getting out of this. If Lisa looked like a deer in headlights before, now she looked like she had been hit by the truck. Because standing right there in the doorway in front of everyone was her lover. Why was he there? Simple. Because I invited him. See, Lisa thought she was being careful. Thought she was slick. But the thing about affairs? People slip up. And Lisa? She wasn't as careful as she thought. She never said his name in the videos, sure. But there were patterns. The times she was busy. The way she always left the room to take calls. And the way a certain friend of ours had suddenly gotten awkward around me. That's all I needed. A little digging. Some social media snooping. Checking schedules. And boom, there he was. The invitation that sealed her fate. A week before the party, I sent him a casual, friendly text.
"Hey, man.
Throwing a big party for Lisa's birthday. You should definitely come. Gonna be a great night." He hesitated. I could feel it through the screen. But then, because guilt makes people stupid, he replied, Sure. Bro sounds fun. And just like that, the trap was set. The moment she knew it was over. Now here he was, standing there, wide-eyed, guilty as hell, caught in the same burning wreckage as Lisa. Lisa turned to him so slowly, like she was still praying this was all some horrible dream. But the way he wouldn't even look at her? Yeah. This was real. And it was about to get so much worse. If Lisa's face had drained of blood before, now, she looked like she was about to pass out. Because there he was, her secret. Her wish I was their guy. And he wouldn't even look at her. The crowd turns. The silence was thick. Then someone in the crowd laughed. Just a quick, sharp, "Oh damn." And that was all it took. People started whispering, murmuring, piecing it together. One of her friends, Heather, a woman who had been hyping Lisa up all night, slowly stepped away like she didn't want to be associated with whatever disaster was happening in front of her. Another guest, a co-worker, actually muttered, "This is disgusting." Lisa snapped. "This is insane," she shrieked, spinning toward me. "You planned this. Why you humiliated me in front of everyone for what? A sick joke?" I folded my arms. "Lisa, I didn't humiliate you. You did that all by yourself." That shut her up real quick. The lover tries to escape. Meanwhile, her boyfriend was already edging toward the door. He wanted out. Bad. But I wasn't done yet. I turned to him, grinning.
Hey, man.
You don't have to run off so soon. Stay. Enjoy the party. It's literally for the woman you risked everything for. Lisa whirled on him. "Oh, so you're just gonna leave me here?" He blinked, finally looked at her. And in that moment, I saw exactly what I wanted to see. Regret. Not for cheating. Not for sneaking around. But regret for getting caught. He opened his mouth, closed it, then shook his head and mumbled, I should go. And then, he just left. Didn't defend her. Didn't fight for her. Just walked out the door like none of this was his problem.
Lisa.
Lisa looked betrayed. Like somehow he was the villain here. Like she wasn't the one who just got caught in 4K Ultra HD destroying her own marriage. And then, she begged. She turned back to me, wild-eyed, desperate. "Mark," she said, voice shaking. "Please, can we just talk? In private." I smiled. "Lisa, honey, we just did. And let me tell you, that broke her. You ever watch someone's world collapse in real time? Because that's exactly what happened to Lisa. Her lover had abandoned her. Her party, was now a front row seat to the biggest betrayal of the year. And the worst part? No one was on her side. The reactions. People weren't even trying to hide their disgust anymore. Heather, her so-called best friend, just shook her head and muttered, "Wow, you are unbelievable." One of her co-workers, this quiet girl who had barely spoken all night, looked Lisa dead in the eyes and said, "I really thought you loved him. That one hit different." Lisa physically flinched, like it hadn't fully hit her until that moment how many people just saw her for what she really was. And then came the phones. Oh yeah, people were recording. At least 2, maybe 3 guests had their cameras out. Someone whispered, "This is going viral." And Lisa finally snapped. The breakdown. She grabbed my arm hard. "Mark," she hissed, eyes wide wild. "You have to stop this." She was breathing way too fast, like a caged animal that just realized the door was locked. "Stop what?" I asked, tilting my head. "I'm not doing anything. This is your party, babe." Her jaw clenched. You need to tell them it's not true." I actually laughed.
Lisa.
"There's a video. There's a lie detector. What part of this isn't true?" Her lips parted, closed again. Nothing. She had nothing. And the worst part? Even if she had an excuse, even if she somehow tried to spin this, no one believed her anymore. Her reputation? Destroyed. Her friends? Gone.
Her lover.
Ran the second things got uncomfortable. And me? I was just getting started. Lisa must have realized she was out of options. Because the next thing I knew, she started crying. Not the quiet, graceful, feel bad for me kind of crying. No, this was ugly crying. Messy, hiccuping, snot-filled panic. "Mark," she begged, gripping my wrist like I was her last lifeline. "Please, let's go inside. Let's talk." I smiled. "Lisa," I said gently, prying her fingers off me. "We don't have anything to talk about." And then I pulled out the envelope, the final nail in the coffin. I had been waiting for this moment. I reached into my jacket, pulled out a white envelope, and handed it to her. "What's this?" she sniffled. I shrugged. "Just a little birthday gift." She hesitated, opened it, and when she saw what was inside, she actually gasped. Divorce papers. Signed. Ready. Waiting for her signature. Her hands started shaking. "Mark," she whispered, looking up at me with absolute horror.
No.
"Please, we can fix this." I smiled. "Lisa," I said, calm, steady, final. "We're already done." And right there, at her party in front of all her friends, on what was supposed to be her big day, I left, walked right out the front door, never looked back. And Lisa, she was left standing there, clutching those divorce papers, surrounded by people who now saw her for exactly what she was. The perfect ending. Now, most people would think walking out was the end of it. Not me. See, Lisa had spent months sneaking around behind my back, lying, smiling, kissing me goodnight, while secretly video calling another guy. So just leaving? That wasn't enough. I wanted to make sure that every time she stepped foot in that house, she'd feel exactly what I felt when I saw that footage for the first time. So before I left for good, I left her a few parting gifts. The first gift, a little home redecorating. Before the party, I took all our framed photos, the wedding pictures, the vacation shots, everything, and replaced them with screenshots. Yeah. Screenshots from the video calls. The ones from my hidden camera. The ones where she was smiling, laughing, undressing. I made sure to put them exactly where our happiest memories used to be. So every time she walked past the hallway, boom. Every time she went to grab her keys, boom. Her own betrayal staring her in the face. The second gift, the Wi-Fi password. Before I left, I changed the Wi-Fi password. Nothing crazy, just a little reminder of what she threw away. New password. Cheater_exiled_2024. A little part of me hoped she'd have guests over, and when they asked for the password, she'd have to say it out loud. Every single time. The third gift. A message for the future. And finally, I wrote a note on the bathroom mirror in red lipstick. Short, simple, to the point. Was it worth it? And then, I walked out, took one deep, satisfying breath, and never stepped foot in that house again. Lisa tried reaching out, texted me, called, even had one of her friends try to talk to me. I ignored all of it, because as far as I was concerned, she didn't exist anymore. The divorce went through fast. Thanks to our prenup, which Lisa once called unromantic, she walked away with nothing. The house? Mine. The car? Mine. Her social life? Absolutely ruined. And me? Well, the best revenge of all. A month after the divorce was finalized, I booked a first-class flight to Hawaii, sat on the beach, drank something out of a coconut, and thought to myself, best birthday party ever. And that, my friends, is how you handle betrayal. So tell me, was my revenge too much or not enough?